Introduction: The Smarter Science of Slim. In other fields, when bridges do not stand, when aircraft do not fly, when machines do not work, when treatments do not cure, despite the conscientious effort on the part of many persons to make them do so, one begins to question the basic assumptions, principles, theories, and hypotheses that guide one's efforts. Arthur Jensen, the University of California. Over the past few decades, we've been trying harder and harder to be healthy and fit. The result? We got heavy and sick. What's going on here? When did healthy and fit start making us heavy and sick? And why is everyone calling us lazy gluttons? If a doctor prescribes us a medication and it makes us worse, is that our fault? No. However, it is up to us to stop taking it and to find a new doctor. Similarly, if an architect builds us a house and it crumbles, is that our fault? No, but we'd better find a good contractor who knows how to build something solid and safe. We have to apply the same logic to health and fitness. We've received so much contradictory, damaging advice over the years, often resulting in frustration and extra pounds. It's high time for us to make a better choice. But what other option do we have than the decades-old calorie counting approach? I have good news and bad news. Scientific and technological advancements have been just as amazing for health, fitness, and fat loss over the past 40 years as they've been everywhere else. But here's the bad news. Nobody's told us about them. The field of modern nutrition and exercise science has provided a proven alternative, and it does not involve complex calorie counting, confusing workout routines, or other gimmicks. We can think about the modern approach to avoiding obesity and diabetes as we would the modern approach to avoiding lung cancer. No need to track breaths in and breaths out. Just enjoy clean air. Don't avoid everything. Just steer clear of the things proven to poison your lungs. Similarly, no need to track calories in and calories out. Just enjoy so much delicious, healthful, what I call sane food that you're too full for the insane foods that poison your body. We've gotten worse while trying harder because we've been written a bad prescription and given a faulty blueprint. The traditional approach to health and fitness is like attempting to avoid lung cancer by smoking shorter cigarettes and jogging. We're still destroying our respiratory system, albeit more slowly, and even some well-intentioned jogging cannot undo that damage. Likewise, eating less of a traditional diet and doing more traditional exercise does not prevent obesity and diabetes. It may delay them, but the diet still destroys our metabolic system, albeit more slowly, and the exercise does not undo that damage. Fortunately, we have the solution. We can use simple and proven science to make healthy actually healthy again. New heading: We can live better. Starting in the 1970s, diet and nutrition experts reduced food and exercise down to a lowest common denominator: calories. They told us that we just need to eat fewer calories and exercise more to burn them off. It doesn't matter what we eat. There are no bad foods, they said. Only bad quantities, everything in moderation. In the same spirit, many experts claimed the type of exercise we do is irrelevant, as long as we get our heart rate up for a certain amount of time so that we burn a lot of calories. This dual set of recommendations led to a world where nearly half of all women and a third of all men are following a diet plan, while the fitness industry has blossomed into a $30 billion business that employs more than 500,000 people. In other words, we trusted the experts and took calorie counting to heart. Since the 1970s, the incidence of non-fatal heart disease has nearly doubled. The incidence of hospital discharges for cardiovascular disease have nearly doubled. The percent of Americans who are at least overweight has gone up from 40% to nearly 70%. and the number of Americans suffering from diabetes has nearly quadrupled. Judging by these results, the calorie counting approach is not effective. We're trying, but it's not working anywhere. The worldwide rate of obesity has more than doubled since 1980. The number of people who are overweight today equals the total world population just a century ago. Most disturbingly, David S. Ludwig, MD, PhD, director of the New Balance Foundation Obesity Prevention Center, Boston Children's Hospital, reports obesity is such that this generation of children could be the first, basically in the history of the United States, to live less healthful and shorter lives than their parents. In the words of Susan Woolley, co-founder of the Eating Disorder Clinic at the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine, the failure of overweight people to achieve a goal they seem to want, and to want above almost all else, must now be admitted for what it is: a failure not of those people, but of the methods of treatment that are used. While this is heartbreaking, there is hope. The counterproductive results brought on by the misinformation of the past have led contemporary experts, people who spend their time in research labs, not on television or in magazines, to seek out an alternative. These experts knew we couldn't begin to find the answer until we were ready to admit the fallacies of those old theories. How may the medical profession regain its proper role in the treatment of obesity? Albert Sonkard, MD, chairman of the Department of Psychiatry and founder of the Center for Weight and Eating Disorders at the University of Pennsylvania, asks, "We can begin by looking at the situation as it exists, not as we would like it to be. If we do not feel obliged to excuse our failures, we may be able to investigate them." This realization within the scientific community has been wonderful for us because it has led to decades of transformational fat loss and wellness research. The only issue is that this research, buried in dense medical journals and research papers, has not yet found its way out of academic circles. You and I are going to fix that. Once we simplify the science, we can escape the myths at the heart of the obesity, diabetes, and heart disease epidemics. We will experience something truly liberating. We will see how accurate information makes it easy to get slim and be healthy. Does that sound too good to be true? Well, wait a second. Have you ever met anyone who eats as much as he or she wants, does not exercise, and still stays skinny? We all have. So the question is not, is simple lifelong slimness possible? Millions of naturally thin people have already demonstrated that it is. The question is, how can I burn fat automatically like naturally thin people? Along these same lines, have you ever met anyone who easily avoids foods most of us crave? Again, we all have. The question is not, is it possible to avoid foods that most people crave? Millions of vegetarians demonstrate every day that it's possible to resist drive-through burgers for life. The question is, how can we get our minds to see harmful foods in the same way that vegetarians' minds see meat? The modern science of health and fitness has revealed a surprising and encouraging answer. We don't need to eat less and exercise more harder. We can eat more and exercise less smarter. Smarter is the key. The focus should be on food and exercise quality instead of quantity. By eating plenty of higher quality food and doing less but higher quality exercise, we unconsciously avoid overeating and provide our body with a unique combination of nutrition and hormones, one that reprograms the body to behave more like one of a naturally thin person. Likewise, psychologists have pioneered techniques we can use to reprogram the way our mind perceives food. If we dedicate a few hours to freeing our mind, it can free us from the cravings that sabotage our efforts. We are virtually dying to know the facts about fat loss and health. But who has time to examine thousands of pages of scientific studies? It took me over a decade of being sleep deprived, sending countless emails, and calling researchers around the world to understand more than 1,200 nutrition and exercise studies and integrate them into this book. Thankfully, you won't need a decade to absorb this information. You just need a few hours to listen to it and 5 weeks to allow it to change your life. I've simplified my findings into a 12-week plan to burn fat and shed pounds quickly, a flexible lifestyle program that improves your health and helps you slim down permanently, and cutting-edge tools and technologies that replace obsolete calorie counters that you can enjoy free of charge at sanesolution.com. Over the next few hours, you'll learn how supposedly healthy foods cripple your ability to burn fat, how to burn fat while eating more food, how to get all the benefits of exercise in 1/10 of the time, how eating less sets us up to gain fat in the long run, how a few minutes of a new form of exercise immunizes you against fat gain, how you fix the underlying hormonal condition causing you to gain fat. To start, the outdated calorie myth theories tell us to focus on calorie quantity and ignore calorie quality. Your sane solution leverages calorie quality to take care of calorie quantity. The old calorie myths tell you to fight against your set point weight. Your sane solution lowers your set point weight. The calorie myths tell you to focus on short-term weight loss. Your sane solution focuses on long-term fat loss as well as long-term health. Calorie counting and calorie myths slow down your metabolism. Your sane solution and eating more sane foods speeds up your metabolism. Calorie myths ignore hormonal issues. Your sane solution focuses on hormonal issues. Calorie myths ensure a profit motive for the diet and fitness industry. Your sane solution keeps it all simple right from the start so you can heal your body as well as your bank account. To be clear, the eat less, exercise more approach can work, just not very often, easy, or enjoyably. Studies show that counting calories does not keep off body fat over the long term 95.4% of the time. To put that into perspective, quitting smoking cold turkey has a 94.5% failure rate. Put these two facts together, and you are more likely to give up the third most addictive substance in the world, trailing only heroin and cocaine, without any help than you are to shed weight using the gold standard advice you have been taught your whole life and the gospel that I was taught back in my personal trainer days. The modern, saner approach is not about better versus worse. It's about simple versus complex. When you get hungry, you eat sane foods until you're full. When you work out, you do smarter exercise for shorter periods of time. That's it. Freed from hunger or complicated calculations about how much you're eating or exercising, you can spend your energy on your dreams, jobs, and families. The calorie counting model is so complex that there are reality TV shows about it, with contestants constantly doing food math and spending life-draining hours in the gym. When we're worried about how much we're eating or exercising, we have little time or energy for anything else. Both approaches can get you to the other side, but while counting calories is like frantically zigzagging through a minefield, eating more and exercising less, but smarter, or going sane as I like to say, is as natural and low-key as strolling through a meadow. Consider a study done at Skidmore College comparing a traditional calorie counting eat less, exercise more, harder program against a saner eat more, exercise less, smarter program. Let's call the groups in the study the harder group and the smarter group. The harder group ate a more conventional Western diet while doing traditional aerobic exercise for 40 minutes per day, 6 days per week. The smarter group ate a saner diet while exercising only 60% as much, but with higher quality. The study lasted for 12 weeks and included 34 women and 29 men between the ages of 20 and 60. At the end of the study, the harder group ate less food and exercised 18 hours more than the smarter group. The smarter group focused on high intensity but very safe cardiovascular and resistance training and ate more but saner, higher quality calories. Here's what the researchers found. The smarter group lost 21% body fat. The harder group, less than half of that. The smarter group gained 9% of slimming lean muscle tissue, while the harder group lost 4%. The smarter group shrunk their bellies by 16%. The harder group, only 8%. And the smarter group improved their LDL cholesterol by 21%, while the harder group, only 9%. Intrigued? It gets better. The program started in this book and continued on sanesolution.com, takes the strategies used by the smarter group to the next level. We don't use the same surgical techniques we used 40 years ago. We don't use the same computers we used 40 years ago. And there's no need to use the same nutrition and exercise approaches we used 40 years ago. Thousands of studies show a simpler, safer, and more sustainable way to trim off those unwanted pounds while improving every aspect of our health. It's time to free ourselves from outdated calorie myths. It's time to enjoy a more sane solution. New heading: The Calorie Myths. In the first part of this book, we'll cover the new science that lays the foundation for the SANE program. It may be tempting to skip this section and jump straight into the how-to information, but I would strongly caution against that. Without this foundational information, the practical steps found later in the book and online at sanesolution.com won't make sense because you won't have any context for understanding them. So please give this science a shot. It's truly empowering. You've given these calorie myths decades to confuse you. Please give this smarter science a few short hours to clear things up. We'll start by digging into research concerning the set point, a range of about 10 pounds that your body works to keep you within. We'll then see that processed food creates a hormonal clog that raises your set point weight and causes chronic fat gain. We will also see how healing our hormones and lowering our set point weight via high-quality whole plant and animal foods keeps us slim as reliably as our existing set point keeps us heavy. We will free ourselves from trying to manually regulate calories in and calories out. A maddening, never-ending task that's just about as feasible as trying to manually regulate all your breaths in and your breaths out. Next, you'll see how the message, a calorie is a calorie, so eat whatever, just not too much, is about as accurate as saying liquid is liquid, so drink whatever, just not too much. We will find that the quality of calories varies wildly and is determined by 4 factors: satiety, aggression, nutrition, and efficiency. SANE, or SANE for short. S, satiety, is how quickly calories fill you up. A, aggression, is how likely calories are to be stored as body fat. N, nutrition, is how many vitamins, minerals, essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, etc. that calories provide. E, efficiency, is how easily calories are converted into body fat. Whether a calorie is high quality or low quality depends on where it fits on the SANE spectrum. High quality calories are on the healthy end of the SANE spectrum. They're sane. They're non-starchy vegetables, nutrient-dense proteins, whole food fats, and low fructose fruits. They are satisfying, unaggressive, nutritious, and inefficient. These sane foods fill you up quickly and keep you full for a long time. Sane foods provide a lot of nutrients, and few of them can be converted into body fat. Even better, sane foods are delicious and trigger the release of body fat burning hormones, clear clogs, and lower our set point. The more sane food you eat, the simpler slim becomes. Low quality calories are just the opposite. They're insane. Starches and sweets are on the unhealthy end of the sane spectrum. They are unsatisfying, aggressive, not nutritious, and inefficient. When you eat these insane foods, you have to overeat to satisfy yourself. These insane substances provide few nutrients and they are easily converted into body fat, triggering the release of body fat storing hormones and making us feel terrible. Insane foods cause clogs and raise your set point. The more insane food you eat, the more complex slim becomes. Next, you and I will walk through research revealing why the quality of our calories is so important. We will discover how calorie quality controls the hormones that control your set point. We'll also see how the clogged up and myth-filled world of today has a long history. One of the lowest quality sources of calories in the world is insane starch, but our government refuses to recognize this fact. In its pyramid and plate, starches are promoted vigorously as though they should be the cornerstone or base of a healthy diet. You'll see how big food, fitness, and pharmaceutical corporations exploit these government guidelines and graphics to keep people and profits fat. New heading: The solution. Go sane. Here's where we'll get practical. You and I will cover how to put the science we learned into practice in our everyday lives to achieve long-term fat loss and health. We will see that sane eating is enjoyable and sustainable. When we eat an abundance of high-quality whole food, our tastes change, our cravings disappear, and we're too full to be tempted with processed, low-quality food. Eating more sane food causes the quality of our diet to rise. This rise lowers our set point, and our body begins to work like the body of a naturally thin person. We'll also explore the wide disconnect between what you've been taught about exercise and what researchers have proved. We'll explore how exercising to enable your body to burn fat for you long term is completely different from exercising to burn a few calories right now. You will see how moving your body slowly, safely, and forcefully speeds up the metabolic healing at the heart of making slim simple. You will see how far from making you bulky, smarter resistance training is the key to staying slim and healthy. We'll then wrap up by exploring how to exercise smarter. New heading: The 5-week sane plan. In the last part of the book, I will offer you a complete 5-week mental, nutritional, and physical plan that will forever free you from yo-yo dieting and optimize your health. We'll work through the mental activities that enable you to overcome subconscious roadblocks that could impede your fat loss efforts, regardless of how much science you know. You'll discover psychological tools that enable you to easily eliminate the desire for insane foods. You'll see exactly how many servings of sane foods you need to eat to heal your metabolism, how it's easy to go to the grocery store to shop, cook, and eat out sanely, and how there are an abundance of cutting-edge, easy-to-use, and fun tools and technologies to help you go sane at sanesolution.com. I'll arm you with more than 30 recipes, snacks, and sane substitutions that speed hormonal healing. Finally, you'll see safe, smarter exercises that you can do at home or at a gym in just 20 minutes per week. That's not per day, that's per week. This sane solution has dramatically and permanently improved the lives of many people, and it will do the same for you. Let's get the myths and misinformation out of the way and make slim simple again. Let's eat more, burn more, and smile more.